What's up, friends? Welcome into Rock Chalk Sports here on ESPN Kansas City and KansasNation.com. Alongside Dan Courtwright, I'm Sean Kellerman. Elijah Schmidt running the operations today behind the cameras. So appreciate Elijah and everything he does for us here at Kansas Nation. A lot to get into here, as always, on Rock Chalk Sports. We're opening talking Kansas women's basketball. They lost last night at Allen Fieldhouse, 85-76. They are now 1-5 in Big 12 play. Dealt with some injuries and dealing with some adversity right now. They're going to have to bounce back, but we're going to hear from a few Jayhawks. Jalea Davis, who continues to ball out, Sanaya Copeland, plus head coach Brandon Schneider as well here in the opening segment. Next segment, we're talking Kansas men's basketball. Exclusive post-game interviews David Lawrence got with both Jamari McDowell and Flory Bidunga. If you missed those in the Jayhawk Locker Room show on Tuesday, we're going to play them for you here on Rock Chalk Sports. And then following that, we're going to have Brian Hanni, the voice of the Jayhawks, here in studio to talk about that ridiculous win over Iowa State on Tuesday, the path forward for a Kansas team that now is 2-2. Probably a win away from being back in the rankings, you would think. I mean, you bludgeon the number 2 team in the country. Yeah. If you go 2-0 that week, you're probably back in.
Well, hey, they were still in the rankings in the coaches poll.
That's true.
So is that the one that really matters?
And still top 25 in the net. Coaches poll, no, it does not matter. But AP poll, Kansas, I think, was the second team out, so technically 27th. Depends on what other teams do, of course, but that's an eye-opener when you knock off the number 2 team in the country by a lot. Got to beat Baylor tomorrow. Of course, we're going to have coverage of that, extended coverage tomorrow on Rock Chalk Sports, 4 to 6 every day here on KansasNation.com. After Haney, we are going to go back to post-game sound from the locker room. DL caught up with assistant coach Kurtis Townsend. And then after that, a little sports whip around. We're going to take some time today to preview NFL divisional round because tomorrow we got a full show. Shreyas Slada will be in studio. We got sports stock market. We're going to hear from Bill Self tomorrow. We're going to preview Baylor, all that. So we're talking a little NFL today while we have the chance, plus some other news from around the world of sports. And then we're going to close out hearing an exclusive interview with Brian Hanni and Jamari McDowell. So twice you get to hear from Jamari McDowell, who Bill Self was very happy with during the Iowa State game. 84-63, KU won on Tuesday. McDowell, 8 points, 6 assists, no turnovers. He says that's a perfect stat line for a bench guy. And like we talked about yesterday, the ball does not stick with Jamari. He's always out there making sure that he's moving, the offense is flowing, that sort of thing. All right, well, Kansas women lost last night to Oklahoma State, as I said, 85-76. Going to talk about that, talk about some good individual performances. First, we want to give a shout-out to Miles Schneider and his great team over at Crown Automotive on South Iowa in Lawrence. CrownAutomotive.com, the place to go. If you need a new vehicle, that is the place to go. In fact, if you're looking for a used vehicle, they have a wide selection of used vehicles as well. Crown Automotive on South Iowa here in Lawrence. Our first partners at KansasNation.com. Appreciate Miles and his team. Dan, tough night at Allen Fieldhouse last night. Kansas women just been laboring a little bit. Had a great start on paper to Big 12 play. Go up to Ames, faced a top 10 Iowa State team, and lost at the buzzer, but it's all been downhill since there. You got one win, but otherwise close losses to good teams. West Virginia, Utah, Oklahoma State, but Kansas now 0-3 in Big 12 play at home and just 1-5 on the season.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You look at the 1-5 and you go, man, that's really tough. But obviously you have a tough loss against a Baylor team in Waco. You have a tough loss against Utah, really tough loss. It was only a 3-point loss against Utah, who is a good team in the Big 12. You beat UCF. You lose to West Virginia. You lose on a buzzer beater against Iowa State. So you look down the list and you go, man, that's, some of the top in terms of the Big 12 and kind of, where Kansas is sitting right now, but still the 1-5 just does not feel good. And Oklahoma State, they were playing some good ball yesterday. Obviously, hit a lot of their threes. They went 9 for 26 from the 3-point line. Micah Gray was really good. She went 3 for 9. You got Haley Timmer, who went 4 for 7, and then Staley Hurd, who went 2 for 7 from the 3-point line. She finished the game with 21 points, 9 rebounds as well. On the Kansas offensive side of the ball, Jalea Davis, career high, 30 points, 10 for 15 from the field, 10 for 13 from the free throw line. She also pulled in 6 rebounds, had a couple of bad turnovers, unfortunately, and you can still see the raw athletic ability of Jalea Davis, but she's still just a freshman, and she's still continuing to get better and learn the game at this higher level, but still 30 points. Unbelievable performance by Jalea Davis. And, you can just see right away that She has been unbelievable whenever she is in there, whenever she is healthy. Samaya Nichols also had 23 points in this game. By the way, she's now the leader in free throws made in Kansas women's basketball history. Really impressive stuff, right over Lynette Woodard. So anytime you surpass Lynette Woodard in any kind of record or ranking or whatever it may be, obviously it's a very, very good thing. Unfortunately, for Kansas, it winds up in a loss. Even though you have 2 players who get 30 and 23, everybody else was essentially a non-factor, right? You look at Lily Meister, 2 for 5 from the field, 6 points. Sanaya Copeland came in. She started for Keely Parks, who wound up being injured. Sanaya had 16 minutes in this game, 2 for 3 from the field for 5 points. Elle Evans started this game, only had 11 minutes in this game. Nothing burger from the field. She didn't even get a single shot up. You need more production out of your starters. You need more production out of your sharpshooter like Elle Evans, no matter how long she's in that game for. Even if it's just 11 minutes, you need to get her to put up any kind of shots. Just put up shots. So it's really disappointing effort by Elle Evans and unfortunately with Lily Meister as well, only getting 6 points in this one. She only finished with 5 rebounds as well. You had Libby come off the bench. She had 32 minutes, only 4 points there. Reagan finally was able to come back into a game. She had the knee brace on. You never really were sure when she was going to be coming back. You didn't know how serious it was because there's been kind of a cloud of mystery around it. But Reagan finally was able to come back. She did wind up playing 12 minutes in this game, had 2 points, which is good to see. Good to see her working back in. But you have Samaya. You have Jalea. It's almost kind of similar to what we talk about with Darren Peterson a lot, where it's you need to have other scoring options other than your best player on the team, which is both Samaya and Jalea. And Samaya is really good at getting to the free throw line, and she's the one who facilitates the ball and gets the ball to Jalea. Jalea is able to score 30 points. But like I said, you need any amount of shots put up by Elle Evans. That's just unacceptable.
Well, and that's, I mean, she only played 12 minutes, unsure what's going on. And we're going to hear from Brandon Schneider and, of course, a couple of players as well. That's a rarity, so perhaps something's going on with Elle Evans. A lot of usage, to your point, from Davis and Nichols. Davis has just been incredible, 30 and 6, 10 of 15. So she had 30 points on just 15 field goal attempts. And Samaya was efficient as well. 6 assists, 2 turnovers. You like seeing that from Samaya. But, yeah, the high usage players that you get a lot of production from in Davis and Nichols, they need a little bit of help. It was not a little bit of help. It was nice, to your point, seeing Reagan Williams out there. Only played 13 minutes in her return. But, yeah, Kansas kind of had a good first quarter, dug themselves a hole before the first half ended, and then unable to climb out of it. And yeah, these are good teams they're losing to, but unfortunately it's another loss, and they're 1-5. Let's go ahead and go to the podium. We're going to hear first from a couple Jayhawks. Jalea Davis, again, 30 points for her, plus Sanaya Copeland at the podium. And after that, we'll hear from Coach Brandon as the Kansas women fall by 9 last night.
Jalea, you ended with 30 points tonight. What was working so well for you offensively, and how did you kind of find your rhythm?
I think I kind of found my rhythm through my free throws, just getting to the line when I couldn't finish the shots that I wanted to finish. That was super important for me and our team.
You guys gave up 9 3-pointers to Oklahoma State in the first half, held them 0 for 8 from three-point range in the second. Just what was going well for you guys on that defensive side?
You know, we had quite a few mistakes in the first half, so running them off the three-point line was one of our main focuses for the second half, and we did that pretty well, so that's a positive for that half. Baseline drives were also another focus for us. We cut that off. So overall, we did do good, just obviously not enough.
Can you talk a little bit about Staten Heard's game today for Oklahoma State?
I think she's a really good player, obviously. She knows how to get to the rim, attack anything that she thinks is a mismatch. But it was kind of just important for us to take that away. But we kind of struggled with that this game, so it didn't give us the outcome that we wanted.
It's been a tough start to conference play for you guys. How do you guys think you bounce back from that and get back into the conversation for the Big 12?
Yeah, we just take it day by day, game by game. These last few games have been rough for us, but we still have a positive mindset, and we're just going to focus on the next game ahead of us.
Good. All right, thanks, ladies.
Thank you.
All right, guys, we can go ahead with questions for Coach Brandon.
Well, I mean, the first half, obviously the threes, we don't help off of corners, but we did, and that was problematic. So that's some mental errors, and then I thought adjusted and did a much better job in the second half of limiting uncontested threes, and then we really struggled with ball screen defense. Whether that was having to emergency switch, and then we were mismatched on the glass when the shot was taken, or guards, not getting back in front of the ball. Something we have to do better. Can't give up 86 points and expect to win. I mean, we played well enough offensively, even though only 2 players, did much. We shot over 50% from 3, over 50% from the field, and scored 75. You ought to be able to, or 76. You ought to win at home, scoring 76. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, you're good. Out of those 76 points, Julia had 30. What do you just think stood out from her performance?
Well, she's incredibly talented. She plays really hard. She got effort baskets, and then she also, got some looks within the structure of the offense. But, somebody like her, you have to really applaud, the effort baskets, whether those are offensive rebounds or, she ran extremely hard in transition and probably was at close to a career high in minutes played as well. So, she's improving every day.
Only 12 minutes and no shot attempts for Ellen tonight. What's the update with her? Is it injury related or something else?
No, I just think it was the physicality of the game was a hard game for her to play in, and struggled to get open, struggled defensively, and I would say but it's me. I felt that Libby's strength would give us a better chance.
What did you think of Reagan's return?
Yeah, I mean, I'm super excited for her. She just plays incredibly hard and was so excited to get back. We were right within the range of minutes that the medical staff, recommended, 12 to 15. Hopefully that'll double, by Saturday, because we desperately need her.
Is this about when you thought you'd get her back, or did she get back quicker? Or
It was quicker,
Okay.
and that's a credit to her and her toughness, and her willingness to be in the facility 3 times a day. And I've been doing this 31 years, and when it just comes out to pure toughness and effort, Reagan would be on my Mount Rushmore of guys that are just that tough and play that hard, and that's why we're desperate to get her back out there.
You obviously had Keely out tonight, and that's a recurring theme with somebody this year so far.
Yeah, we've played 3 games
Yeah.
with
Both
the whole roster.
When that's the case, and you have someone like Cope that you can start or play or anywhere in between, how valuable is she and is that type of player?
Well, from a physicality, we knew it was going to be a physical game, and Sanaya's not going to back down, from that kind of play, and felt like it gave us the best chance to defend, their point guards and all the ball screen stuff, and that was irregardless of who we would have had available tonight. I felt like Cope was the right call to start the game for us.
Is that something that she has, just that whatever you want to call it, utility night or whatever it is, that she has, like, from her earliest days, or did she develop that in college?
I think Matt, it helps that intellectually, I could play her at 4 positions, and that's without practice reps at any of those spots. She just has an ability to to understand the game well enough to know, even though I've only practiced 2 spots, I know what I'm supposed to do if I'm ever thrown in those situations, and that is something that is becoming more and more rare.
Coach, Jaden Wood had 15 for them tonight. Just kind of what makes her mid-range shot so just difficult to slow down?
Her ability to elevate, even as a smaller guard. She's got a high release. She gets you in a retreat mode, because she's attacking you, so you're retreating, trying to keep her in front, and then she can stop on a dime and elevate, and just understands how to get to her spots.
You got the road trip coming up. Are you guys staying the whole time?
Yes.
Yeah. And what do you hope to get out of it? What do you need to get out of it? What is this?
Well, we need to play better, and get a little confidence. I think morale's important, and it's difficult, when you're not playing as well as you would like, and you're also losing. That you just have to move on to the next preparation and try to create some momentum for yourself, because there's no opponent that's going to allow you to do that.
Anything else, Brandon?
Thank you.
There you have it for the Kansas women's basketball players and Coach Brandon. Just 1-5 in conference play. And yeah, I mentioned it a little bit ago, but not injury related for Elle Evans. Played just 12 minutes, 1 rebound. Brandon saying there, difficult for her to get open, difficult for her to deal with the physicality of Oklahoma State. 31 minutes to Libby Fandel instead, so she gets the bulk of those minutes. Libby did have 6 rebounds. Of course, she's a freshman, but you got to have more than just the 2 contributors offensively, which we were talking about before we went to the podium. 30 and 23, so 53 of Kansas 76 coming from Davis and Nichols. Lily Meister has had her moments. Whether it's Evans or Fandel, whoever's going to be out of there has to be a contributor on the offensive side, and certainly you don't want an opponent coming down Fieldhouse and hanging 85.
Yeah, 100%. The defense has just got to be better. And, if you look down the score sheet for Oklahoma State, Staley Hurd, 21 points. Micah Gray, 18 points. Haley Timmer, 18 points. Jaden Wooten coming off the bench, she had 15 points. You had Akol Akot had 9. You have different contributors all scoring upwards or close to double-digit figures. Meanwhile, you have Kansas. They have a 30 and a 23, and then the next highest score is 6. That's just that you can't allow that to happen. You got to get more post feeds for Lily Meister. You got to get more 3-point shots up. Kansas only went 5 for 10 from the 3-point line, which again is pretty good. It's 50%. But you got to get more shots up. When you have a sharpshooter like Elle Evans out there, who is 6'3" and has a high release, who is one of the best shooters in the nation, and she's not able to get open and put up a single shot, that's a big-time problem. Now, Keely Parks was injured, so she did not play in this game. That's another sharpshooter you have as well. Libby Fandel, another sharpshooter you have. So you had different options, right? And Laya played okay. She had 6 points in 25 minutes, and you like seeing Laya. Laya Canessa reminds me so much of Melvin Council in a sense of she is able to put the ball on the ground. She's so fast and quick and aggressive, and she can kick it out. She's the one where when Laya's in the game, you get that kick out, you're going to be wide open because she collapses the defense. You got to be able to make more shots and just put up more shots. It's really unfortunate, right? You look at the 3-point disparity. They went 9 for 26. Oklahoma State did. Kansas, like I said, only went 5 for 10, which is still 50%, but you just need to put up more 3-pointers if you want to stay in a lot of these games.
Perhaps a trip to the desert will be what the doctor ordered for the Kansas women as they head to Arizona State and then Arizona on the Arizona swing that oftentimes Big 12 schedules back-to-back. ASU is 3-2, 16-2, however, overall. Arizona toward the bottom of the conference. They are 1-4, 10-6 overall. KU is back at home against K-State, which won't be easy. Sunday, January 25th. Again, that's at Allen Fieldhouse. K-State, they've got a good program over there. They're just 2-3 and 9-9 overall, however. So an opportunity maybe for Kansas to go on a little bit of a run. But if you have dreams of going to the NCAA tournament, building your resume, you got to start winning games. As after a solid start, even though you don't like moral victories, it looked good when you went up to Ames and almost beat Iowa State. before Christmas. It's just been bad. Like I said, 3 losses at home to West Virginia, Utah, and Oklahoma State, respectively, and road losses to UCF and number 16, Baylor. So we'll see if the Arizona swing helps Kansas in terms of women's basketball get on the right track.
I mean, that's the thing. You look at the non-con, Kansas went 11-2, and they lost a couple of heartbreakers out there in Georgia for the Peach Jam, I think is what it was. But they looked really good in the preseason without Jalea too. Jalea was injured for a lot of that time, and you saw different girls being able to step up. You saw Reagan being able to step up until she got injured. I think the last game she played was like December 7th, somewhere around there. But Kansas has good wins on this on the season. Iowa State losing by 3 on a buzzer beater with a perfect defensive game plan stinks. West Virginia, Kansas just wasn't able to maintain that lead. In West Virginia, they went on a little bit of a run in the third quarter, which completely flipped that game. You had the UCF win, which was great. Utah is still really good. You lost by 3 there. Baylor, you wind up losing by 79-64, but Baylor's always going to be tough, right? Oklahoma State, this was the game to try to be able to flip the script and say, okay, now we're going to get back on the right track. You got Arizona State. They're not super great, and you're doing a 2-game road swing. Maybe that's what this team needs, is a little bit of team bonding on an extended road trip out in Arizona, out in the desert. Like you said, it could just be what the doctor ordered, which the doctor hasn't ordered anybody to go to the desert since like tuberculosis era. But that's actually true. Do you know that?
No, I didn't.
Yes,
Appreciate
that's
that
what
plug.
expansion of the Old West. By the way, quick history lesson for you. Doctors would make people move out to the Old West to the desert when they had tuberculosis to dry them up.
Yeah. How about that?
So yeah, a little history lesson for you. That's why.
Thanks for taking that and running with it.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah.
But no, that could just be what this team needs. Is just an extended period of time where, they're in a hotel together, they're eating every meal together, they're on an extended road trip, they need to bond, they need to do something and figure it out, because right now it's not sustainable with only 2 prolific scorers and everybody else just not being any kind of factor whatsoever on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah, the wins got to start coming, and the talent is there. So I'm about to cough, so why don't you take over?
The talent is there. I don't know what you were about.
Good save.
Yeah, the talent's there.
The talent's there. You've got 2 of the best
right.
players in the conference, and Davis and Nichols. KU needs more from Evans. They need more from some of those young freshmen. They need to start coming into their own as well. After this, we're going to go to the locker room. Kansas men against Iowa State. David Lawrence, couple post-game exclusive interviews that we'll have for you here on Rock Chalk Sports, KansasNation.com, and ESPN Kansas City.
What's up, everybody? Dan Peterson. Everybody go check out KansasNation.com.
Listen up, guys. A new year is coming, and you deserve to feel your absolute best. Whether you're chasing peak performance, trying to reignite intimacy, or simply want to feel your best, Game Day Men's Health Lawrence is your calling. Situated in a plush man cave setting, their services for testosterone replacement therapy, erectile dysfunction, vitamin therapy, and weight loss are sure to give you the boost you need. Make an online appointment today by searching for Game Day Men's Health Lawrence. Step up your game in 2025 with Game Day.
The new year with new deals at Crown Toyota of Lawrence. 2025 RAV4 models, 4.75 APR for up to 72 months. Low APRs for 2026 Camry and Tacoma models, or go all electric in a 2026 BZ for 0% APR.
Your home for the NFL. Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Bursting in, touchdown Mahomes! Rushing touchdown! 1-yard run over the right tackle. Shotgun snap, 4-man rush. Line drive throw near side. Bellight cut to the 5. Diving to the pylon. It is a touchdown by Worthy. What a throw, but what a turn and dive!
Your home of Westwood One, the NFL playoffs and the Super Bowl. Sports Radio 810 WHB.
I'm DJ Withers, and you're watching KansasNation.com.
Better water now, pay later? What's not to love? Hey, it's Bob with Culligan Water. And for a limited time, we're offering no payments and no interest for 6 months on the water you and your family deserve. Our state-of-the-art residential equipment creates water that's purified, soft, and delicious. Contact us today for details and schedule your free consultation online at CulliganKansasCity.com. Culligan. It's water you love.
Transform your home into a serene oasis with a pro-built pool and patio sunroom. Their expertly crafted sunrooms offer breathtaking views, natural light, and year-round comfort. Whether you're relaxing, entertaining, or simply enjoying the beauty of nature, their sunrooms are the perfect addition to your home. Visit them at 4708 Northwest Gateway Avenue in Riverside to see their stunning selection. Pro-built pool and patio, where your dream living space comes to life.
This is Dale Highshaw, and you're watching KansasNation.com.
Memorable night over at Allen Fieldhouse a couple nights ago, as for the 5th time, a top 2 AP team came into Allen Fieldhouse to take on Bill Self and the Jayhawks, and they moved to 0-5. And this one was with a couple exclamation points as KU won by 21. We're going to hear some exclusive post-game interviews, David Lawrence with Jamari McDowell and Flory Bidunga. But this segment, first, we want to tell you is sponsored by Game Day Men's Health Lawrence.
That's right. Game Day Men's Health Lawrence is trying to get you back in the game. If you're not feeling 100% yourself, you're feeling tired, you feel like you don't want to go to the gym, you can't spend time with your family, you're struggling at work, check out Game Day Men's Health here in Lawrence. I know nobody likes going to the doctor, but they do everything in their everything that they can to make you feel comfortable there at Game Day Men's Health. It's a plush man cave-like setting. They have snacks and drinks and TVs up there and really nice artwork. And everybody there is also super nice as well. A friendly front desk. Sam Abrams has been incredible. And look, they're a fully functioning healthcare clinic. They're not trying to sell you anything. You go there, your first visit is 100% free. They will check you out, make sure everything's working. If everything's working, that's absolutely great. If not, they're going to do everything in their power to make sure that you get back in the game, feel 100% like yourself. 50% of men over 40 deal with low testosterone, and 60% of men deal with erectile dysfunction at some point in their lives. So I urge you to go check out Game Day Men's Health. First visit's free, so why not?
Yeah. Check out Game Day Men's Health Lawrence. Tell them the guys over at Kansas Nation sent you. Let's hear from Jamari McDowell first. He caught up with our David Lawrence post-game, KU 84, Iowa State 63.
Jamari McDowell, what a night for Jayhawk fans. They got to watch the Jayhawks take down the undefeated, get back in the Big 12 race, and do it going away, and really putting it to a good Iowa State team.
Yeah, we knew coming into this one, especially after our past 2 conference losses, this is an absolute need, especially being at home. So we had to handle business tonight for sure.
Business was taken care of. You're 3 out of 4 from the field, 2 out of 3 from the 3. You score 8 points. You have 6 assists, 0 turnovers. You also had a block shot. Was this the finest game you've ever had as a Jayhawk?
I'm not really sure. I don't know if I've had more or less than that in any of those stats. Honestly, I don't really keep up with none of them. But I know that we won, so that was a great experience against the number 2 team in the country, so we absolutely needed that.
Yeah, Jamari McDowell joins us post-game. I mentioned to you already, I thought it was the biggest shot of the game. I wrote it down.
You really think that?
Yes, we're up 53-42, and it's getting a little tense because this is a really good team, and you knew they were going to make a run, but then we go on a 15-2 run in the second half. And the biggest shot was at the end of the clock when it looked like we didn't have anything, and you knock it down from the corner. Describe that play.
Obviously, I seen the clock running down. I felt the clock running down. As a shooter or a basketball player, you just got to be in the moment. You got to be in the moment, live in the moment, and when the shots come to you, you got to take them. So I was obviously ecstatic that dropped, but it's just another jump shot at the end of the day, so it's all love.
And in the first half, it was all about you to Trey White. You getting the assist, Trey knocking down the threes. Just talk about the rhythm you guys are in.
Honestly, we've been at this. It feels like we've been at this for so long, so I feel like I know everybody pretty well, and Trey's the type of player, he get one in, you got to let him have it. You got to ride his wave because he can fill it up quick. If he hit one, give it to him again. That's all I was thinking. So I knew that's something that would help us get a dub.
I don't know if you pay attention to the plus or minus. but you're a plus 30 tonight, leading the way for Kansas.
What does that mean?
It means, obviously you don't, but when you're in the game, you know, Kansas
plus minus.
Yes.
Plus minus. I was plus 30?
Yes.
Now, that might be a stat that
You like that
my
one.
finest.
You like that one.
Yeah, I've never even heard that, but yeah. I mean, obviously I've heard plus minus, but plus 30, God, Lord. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
And you know, I just talked to Flory. He was exhausted.
He's gassed. No, trust me, he's gassed. That's not, I'm speaking for Flory.
And you, I mean, you look excited, but I'm sure you're worn out, but I guarantee you there's 15,000 fans that are going crazy a lot louder than what you are right now.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we honestly do it for, obviously. You've seen, we just lost 2 conference games, and the field house is sold out. So that's what we do it for. Even the people who can't make it, we got to put on a show for them. They pay good money to come see us play, so it's super blessing to play in front of them, for sure, in the field house.
And after 3 league games where you didn't play your best defensively, you go back to where you were and you allow one of the best teams in the country just 36%.
Yeah, we had a rough showing. Obviously, teams are going to be turned up to play. They see that Jayhawk coming to town. They're going to be turned up to play us, but still not an excuse. They hit shots the past our 2 losses, but tonight we had to end it. We had to correct it tonight. Tonight it had to be an end to that. We got 339-22 record in here, and we wasn't going to make it 23.
I love that. And then lastly, it looked like, you know, there's so much that's been written about when DP's in, the rest of the team maybe is a little bit more reserved or it's just the opposite. It looked like it flowed so well tonight.
It absolutely did. I mean, DP couldn't really get it going, even though what he finished with. He still had a bunch.
Second half, he really came on and ended up with 16.
Yeah, he ended with 16, and we're talking about he had a bad night. So
yeah.
He plays his balls off. I'm proud of him, how he's battling. Honestly, the ball is going to hum regardless of who's in there. Sometimes it could be stagnant because, I mean, as you see, Darren. He can do a lot with the ball, but when he's in there, we playing off of him. That's the focus. So when it hums, it's beautiful. When it hums, it's beautiful.
Okay, not many league games on Friday night. A great opportunity to come right back here.
Right back here against Baylor, ain't it?
Yes.
Yeah, we got Baylor. So we'll come back here a little later tomorrow. Probably have a little walkthrough film. I think we lift. And then on Thursday, we'll be full speed. So we got another one to get. We got to keep this thing going in the right direction, man. We just started to get there now, David. It's only the beginning.
Appreciate you, Rock Chalk.
Rock Chalk.
David Lawrence post-game conversation with Jamari McDowell. Dan, you and I had a chance to break down the win, of course, and we were excited to talk about it yesterday in the opening segment. We mentioned Jamari and how good he was. Obviously, Coach Self talked a lot about him, but KU going down to 7 guys in the rotation. Only bench players were the third-year players, El Marco and Jamari. But when Jamari's out there, he's just been so solid all season. He's hit big shots. He doesn't play outside of himself, and it was so obvious, I thought, on Tuesday night in that win. The ball doesn't stick. The 0.5 rule I mentioned, Jamari is always trying to make something happen. So many good dribble drives and then kicks to open guys. Always looks better when the shots go in, but needless to say, he's just such a nice piece offensively.
Yeah, he opens up the floor a lot, right? And that's something, and you said it best, the ball doesn't stick in his hands. Whenever he gets the ball, he's either putting up a shot or putting the ball down or passing. And whenever he puts the ball down, he'll be able to drive, collapse the defense, and kick it back out. And we saw that a number of different times. He wound up having 6 assists in this game. Jamari McDowell has been such an excellent addition to this rotation. I don't think that anybody kind of foresaw what kind of role Jamari was going to have, because when you look at Jamari in the past, you go, yeah, he's a really good shooter what else does he really bring to the table? Well, he brings a lot more to the table, especially now, and especially since he's been able to grow his game and figure out that he can be more of a facilitator whenever he wants to be. He can be the guy who can take it up if he needs to for a tough layup, or he can put up a big shot. He had 2 big threes, massive threes in this game. So Jamari McDowell had an excellent game and is just continuing to impress, and he's earning his spot. He's earning his playing time. And that's, I think, the most important thing is, like, you came into the season thinking, like, man, he's really going to have to earn his playing time because you got a potential first overall draft pick in the NBA right where he's at. You also have Melvin Counsell coming in, who's just an absolute dog. You have a lot of guys who are, you look at them and you go, yeah, they're better players than Jamari McDowell. But Jamari McDowell has been so impressive whenever he's been out there. He's really earned his spot.
What was the animal that you said for
Dog.
Melvin Counsell? Oh, okay. Melvin Counsell, dog. Huh. Oh, yeah, I can see it.
Yeah, can you?
Yeah, that makes sense.
I just came up with that, by the way.
Yeah.
Just off the top of my head.
Okay, wow. We should try to spread the word on that front.
Yeah, we should.
But, we're fans of all these guys from an individual standpoint, but we're fans of the program first, and we're fans of the team's success first. That being said, we want Cole Rosario to have success. We want Jaden Dawson to have success. But the fact of the matter is, Jamari McDowell has just been good this year, that he's kind of taken the bulk of those minutes. And that's what you want, is somebody to earn them. Coach Self, the vibe I got from him post-game was not somebody who's necessarily interested in going too deep into his bench if it's not warranted. And I think the fact that he saw a full 40 minutes with only playing 7 guys, the guys who came in at the end, notwithstanding, that's going to continue to happen, I think. Not that there's not going to be times, foul trouble, or, guys not playing well in certain games that don't warrant Rosario or Dawson being out there. The fact of the matter is, McDowell, 43% from 3, and all the other things that we've talked about. He's been a solid defender. He's got high basketball IQ. He knows the program. He knows the expectations, and certainly has hit big shots, so being clutch is also important. He had 2 big free throws at the end of the TCU game. Yeah. Remember his freshman year? He had 2 huge free throws against, was it Duke or Kentucky? I can't remember who it was.
It was the Kentucky game, wasn't it?
Yeah, one of them, a couple huge free throws toward the end. So he's been a clutch player, and again, the offense just is better without him. I loved what I saw, and of course, this is a big story. Everybody out there playing aggressive, even when Peterson's out there. They looked like the Jayhawks. They looked like the Jayhawks that we saw in the non-con, and not a bunch of pieces trying to figure out who fits where and, deferring to DP or anything like that. It just was so much more fluid. Hopefully, KU can bottle that offensively. Another big reason for KU's offensive success, the bigs got back to doing a little bit more of what they did in the non-con, particularly in Vegas. Flory, Bidunga, and Bryson Tiller. Tiller had the first couple baskets for Kansas. Bidunga finished off a couple lobs. He ends up with 10 and 7, and obviously it's a force down low. Momcilovic talked about that at the podium post-game, saying, yeah, he makes it difficult for us because he's got a long wingspan, and he's so talented down there. David Lawrence had a chance to catch up with KU's big man Flory Bidunga post-game in the KU locker room.
Flory Bidunga, you take down the unbeaten top 5 Iowa State team 84-63 in front of a sold-out crowd at Allen Fieldhouse. This is what KU basketball is all about, isn't it?
It's a special place here. I feel like, as a house, we need to take care of it. We need everybody who came here, don't let them breathe. I think we did a pretty good job on it, and everything turned out pretty good.
10 points, 7 rebounds, 4 block shots, and 2 steals. You filled up the stat line. What are you most proud about?
I'll say just the energy that we play with. Me and my teammate did a great job. We held them down to like 20, I think. They had a low run, but we were locking, and then I think our energy, got the best of us, and then we were about to proceed, and then did a good job on them.
Yeah, you and Bryson hadn't been scoring a lot of points, but you guys combined to score the first 4 baskets, being aggressive inside.
100%. I feel like with us, me and Bryson, if we give the first punch, the other will fill as a lead. So I think that was the idea that we went into as a game.
Talk about getting out to that huge lead in the first half. I believe it was 44-18. with 1:38 left in the first half. How did that feel?
It was great. Even though the game is not done, we've been in this situation, been up on halftime, during halftime, and come back, we come up pretty fast. So I think that was our mindset, we need to minimize the error, and then just keep pushing.
Yeah, and maybe the biggest run of the game was when they closed to being within 11, and then a 15-2 run. Mari hit a huge three, Trey hit a huge three, and that's kind of where you pulled away, made the game over.
Man, we got some great cards over there. I think it's complimentary. This shot was probably one of the biggest in the game. And then they're liking and it just made it.
Flory Bidunga protecting the paint throughout the game. That's something that you've always prided yourself in. Just talk about defensively putting your foot down, because the first 3 games in the Big 12, the defense wasn't as good, but they found itself tonight.
It's a great league, and then the game will go tougher and tougher, and then, we just have to be ready for it. We have improved it. I think talking about blocking, I think that's one of my, my best ability, and then I'm trying as much as possible for my team. So
yeah, and there's been so much written about, when Darren Peterson's in, maybe the rest of the team maybe kind of sits back a little bit, but it seems tonight was very fluid. DP was able to score. The whole team was aggressive scoring the ball. It looked like it went together well.
100%. We were connected, as I said, especially during the second half, because people have been saying we're not a second half team. But, with this one, I think we have proved them wrong. And then, obviously the game is not, the job is not done. We have to keep proving and proving. But so far, it's a great start.
You played 32 minutes. I mean, you're exhausted out there.
A little bit, but I try to work on my cardio. I feel like from the game, I bring something positive on the team, and then as long as I try to stay on her, I think that'll be best for the team for sure.
What kind of statement did Kansas make nationally with this victory over number 2?
They're great team. They haven't lost a game, and then this is Allen Fieldhouse. It's our house. We need to prove everybody that we're capable of, we bend there to the situation, not sleep on us.
Flory Bidunga, get some rest. We'll see you on Friday.
Thank you.
And we'll celebrate. I know Jayhawk fans are celebrating right now.
That's an exclusive post-game interview in the KU locker room. David Lawrence with KU big man Flory Bidunga. I thought it was funny, Dan, when we had Kevin Flaherty on the show on Monday, I said something along the lines of Flory's kind of becoming an 8-6 guy. Yeah. And then if you remember, Kevin said, yeah, even if he's a 12-8 guy, that'd be good. And what does Flory end up with?
10-7.
10-7.
Yeah. So
right in the middle. But needless to say, liked what you saw out of Flory. We know that he's a defensive presence in this one. And again, everybody looked a little bouncier. Everybody looked like they were attacking the glass more, and that's certainly important. A couple steals as well to go along with the 4 blocks. So, again, active hands, activity level, as Coach Self said post-game with Greg Gurley, so much better for Kansas. 8 blocks and 8 steals, much better than what we had seen.
Yeah, I think the aggressiveness, which isn't a stat that's not that stat's not on the box score, but I think the aggressiveness that Flory played with against Iowa State has been a lot better than it has been over the last 3 games, I think, in Big 12 play. I think we're just seeing Flory Bidunga play a little bit bigger, be a little bit bouncier, getting in those passing lanes a little bit better, and maybe it has to do with the fact that Kansas is not switching 5 as much as they once were, but 4 blocks and 2 steals on the game on the defensive side of the ball, that's absolutely fantastic. Like you said, 10 points, 7 rebounds. Still would like to get a little bit more of those rebounds, but they're putting up a lot of shots, and a lot of those were those long rebounds that you see. That's why Trey White wound up with 10 rebounds. Melvin Council wound up with 7 rebounds. Darren Peterson had 5 of them. So you're seeing longer rebounds being thrown out, but it's just in terms of the bigs for Kansas, you really liked what you saw. It definitely was an upward tick in terms of their productivity. I still think that it can get better on the defensive side of the ball, on defensive rebounding. I think offensive rebounding needs to be big as well. Flory only had 2 offensive rebounds. Bryson only had 1. Trey White wound up with 6 offensive rebounds, which is really, really impressive on his front. And we don't talk about Trey White enough. We talk about him a lot. We don't talk about him enough still. That's how good he has been for Kansas throughout this entire season. But with Flory, you liked the aggressiveness. You liked the, I guess, what's the word I'm looking for? Just the will to be out there and yeah, just the aggressiveness, the want to play basketball, the want to play big, I think was there against Iowa State, where it hasn't been there in games past. So you liked what you saw out of him again with 10 and 7. You want it to be a little bit higher. You want him to, in theory, be that secondary scoring option, right? Whenever you have Trey White out there, he has been the secondary scoring option, but you need somebody down low that's really going to separate the court and space things out a lot more when you have a true, like a 15-point at least scoring threat down low in Flory Bidunga. Hopefully he'll get back to that level because he has the talent to be able to do so.
I would say maybe this is not right, but the most important thing for this team, for Flory Bidunga and Bryson Tiller, at least at this stage, the thing that absolutely has to happen is defensive rebound.
Yeah.
Right? I've talked a lot about how I need Flory to be more of an offensive presence, a guy you can throw it to. And we saw it once where there was a trap in the post, and then you had Tiller running free on the baseline, and Flory had a nice pass out of the post, and Tiller had a dunk. You want to see more of that, and I think we will, because the key is just getting the post touch. Right? You get the post touch, even if you're doubled, even if you don't score, good things happen. It opens things up for other guys. But again, go back. Number one thing these guys need to do is defensive rebound, because even when Kansas was up 21 at the break, Dan, 14 offensive rebounds for Iowa State. Some of that's not real, but it's still a high number. So that's definitely the case. Also interesting about Baylor, this team that Kansas is going to be facing tomorrow night in the Fog, 1-3 in conference play. You look at their roster, and there's a lot of nice pieces. We'll break down the Bears in more detail tomorrow, but very guard heavy. Of course, they were able to get James Najee, the former second-round NBA draft pick, who hasn't played very much. Guard heavy with a couple volume-type guys in terms of scoring the ball. Tunde Yesufu is probably going to be a lottery pick, and then Cam Carr leads the Bears in scoring at over 20 a game. But you look and you think, okay, well, there's not as many bigs. I mean, you don't have the everyday John Chumwa that you had. You don't have Mark Vidal, who's was only 6'5", but seemed to get every rebound. But Baylor, despite the fact that they are so guard heavy, they're third in the league in rebound margin because their guards clean up so well. You look, Carr averages over 5 a game. Yesufu averages 6 a game. Dan Skillings Jr. averages over 6.5 per game. And then Michael Ratai, he hasn't been as good as they probably would have hoped. He's a little bit bigger at 6'8", but he averages 6 per game. You talk about a team that attacks the glass. And again, wouldn't expect them to be top 5. I was shocked when I saw that in the conference in rebounding. That's an area where Kansas has been susceptible at times, and it's an area where they're going to have to succeed tomorrow because, again, as great as Tuesday was, if you don't have success tomorrow, then what are we doing, right? You got to go out tomorrow and win.
Absolutely. And, like I said, rebounding has been a large point of emphasis for us on this show. It's been a large point of emphasis for Bill Self. And, like you said, they're guard heavy and they do like to shoot some threes as well. So you're going to see more of those long rebounds. So you're going to look to guys to get those rebounds like Trey White, like Melvin Council, like Darren Peterson. You're going to want to see a lot of those guys get a lot of those long rebounds as well. But it comes first with the bigs. You got to have Flory get over 10 rebounds in a game just once in Big 12 play to essentially get the ball rolling. You got to get Bryson Tiller down there banging with the guys down low, because we've yet to really seen him kind of emerge as a powerful power forward, a guy who can really do some damage down low. We haven't really seen that out of Bryson Tiller since the very beginning of the season. Like you said, they're guard heavy and they do like to get a lot of those rebounds. They're a really good rebounding team overall. So Kansas is really going to have to figure that out.
Yeah, and a good test for some of Kansas guards defensively, whether it is Peterson and Council, Trey White. We know that Kansas might even switch 5 at times. Carr and Yesufu are high-level scorers, so that's going to be tough for Kansas on the defensive end. But if they compete every possession like they did on Tuesday, then we're going to be 3-2 heading to the weekend, and we'd be feeling really, really good about that, likely being back in the top 25 on Monday. After this, we're going to be joined in studio by the voice of the Jayhawks, Brian Hanni. Rock Chalk Sports rolls on, ESPN Kansas City and KansasNation.com.
Hey, this is Cole Ballard, and you're watching KansasNation.com.
Miles Schneer's Crown Automotive, founding partner of Kansas Nation. Visit them at crownautomotive.com. Experience the Crown difference. Carfax top-rated dealer, Crown Automotive.
Listen up, guys. A new year is coming, and you deserve to feel your absolute best. Whether you're chasing peak performance, trying to reignite intimacy, or simply want to feel your best, Game Day Men's Health Lawrence is your calling. Situated in a plush man cave setting, their services for testosterone replacement therapy, erectile dysfunction, vitamin therapy, and weight loss are sure to give you the boost you need. Make an online appointment today by searching for Game Day Men's Health Lawrence. Step up your game in 2025 with Game Day.
New year brings new deals at Crown Volkswagen of Lawrence. Get up to $6,000 off remaining 2025 Tiguan and Taos models in stock.
I'm Justice Finkley. You're watching KansasNation.com. Rock Chalk.
Hanni and the Hawks is presented by Jefferson's with 2 Lawrence locations. Home of the best wings in town, 21 signature sauces. You got to check them out. But if wings aren't your thing, how about a burger? They hand patty their certified Angus beef every single day. Also hand bread their tenders. They make their ranch in-house. There is truly something for everybody at Jefferson's. Go see my buddy Brandon Graham and the entire crew at Jefferson's, either on Mass or Wakarusa in Lawrence, Kansas.
Better water now, pay later? What's not to love? Hey, it's Bob with Culligan Water. And for a limited time, we're offering no payments and no interest for 6 months on the water you and your family deserve. Our state-of-the-art residential equipment creates water that's purified, soft, and delicious. Contact us today for details and schedule your free consultation online at CulliganKansasCity.com. Culligan, it's water you love.
What's up, everybody? Dan Peterson. Everybody go check out KansasNation.com.
Sean Kellerman, Dan Courtwright back here in the Kansas Nation studio. We're going to be joined very shortly here in studio by Brian Hanni, voice of the Jayhawks. But I want to remind you to check us out on social media, including the new Jayhawker podcast featuring Tyrell Reed and Nate Bukaty talking about Dr. Scott Scooter Ward. Really cool segment, really cool episode of the Jayhawker. You can find it on KansasNation.com. Also have episodes of Hanni and the Hawks up there. Brian recently had a conversation with Tyshawn Taylor, who you can see other spots on KansasNation.com and YouTube. Timeout with Tyshawn, and certainly our socials are popping as well.
Yeah, check us out on social media at Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at The Kansas Nation. Find us on Facebook at Kansas Nation, YouTube as well, where we put all of our shows, all of our content. And the most important thing, check out KansasNation.com. It's where all of our content is going to be. Sean has been writing articles. We put everything up on there as well. A lot of game day coverage on KansasNation.com. So check us out there and check us out on all of our socials as well at the Kansas Nation.
Hanni and the Hawks is sponsored by Jefferson's. Brian, thanks for coming on to talk about that. First, you got to give us a little plug on your conversation with Tyshawn Taylor that's going to be available very soon. We've seen Time Out with Tyshawn, his own podcast where he has other entertaining guy, right? One of my favorites of all time. But what did you enjoy about your conversation?
You know, we've had some good basketball guests so far. We're about a month into the basketball list of guests with KJ and, Sasha Khan, Alonzo Jameson, Tyrell Reed was really good. But Tyshawn, personality-wise, just brings so much to the table. And we talked a lot about the Melvin Council comparisons, obviously. He brought it up, not me. It was on my list to get to in, the Final Four portion of the conversation. We ended up spending 6 or 7 minutes on it. His relationship with Melvin, how much he's enjoyed watching him play, but also got into the weeds on just how much he grew as a player and a person over the course of his 4 seasons at Kansas and what it was like with Bill Self back then versus today, and his admiration for the Hall of Fame coach and his impact on all the players from that generation. You think about the guys he played with. It's kind of similar to when we had Tyrell on and he listed off his all-time starting 5 of his era. I mean, that was like, you hate to say peak Self era because they didn't win a title during Tyshawn's stretch. But if you look at all the NBA guys he played with, and on some of those teams, the NBA guys that were coming off the bench, that's the era Self's talking about when on Saturday in postgame in Morgantown, he's talking about how, those days are gone when you could bring in 2 or 3 NBA guys off the bench with 7 or 8 McDonald's All-Americans on a roster. In this era of the portal and revenue share and all that, you're just not going to see those monster roster constructs anymore. But as we transition to the present-day KU basketball, I like the way this roster's rounding into form. I like the way they're starting to figure out how to play together. And finally, buying into what Coach Self's been talking about for weeks, which is playing with a tenacity and an intensity that forces other teams to play bad. And that sounds so elementary. It sounds so, day one of basketball 101. But it really is the constant that you can always bring in terms of effort and energy to forcing teams out of their comfort zone, that no matter what's happening on the offensive end for KU, that type of tenacity and intensity with our athleticism and our length can really frustrate teams. And I think we saw it, case in point, first half versus Iowa State. They had 10 turnovers at the half. That's their normal full game average. Their point guard, who TJ Otzelberger feels is the best point guard in America, was 0 for 7 to start that game. He was a lot better early in the second half. But the point is, whether it was Lipsy or Jefferson, we frustrated them well below their typical numbers. Momcilovic was well below his typical shooting percentages, and that's what Bill Self's talking about. When you play turned up, you're diving on the floor, you're forcing pressure beyond the perimeter, and all of a sudden teams that normally are humming along as a top 12 offensive efficiency team suddenly are looking well below what they typically would put forth. And that's what he says when he says make other teams play bad. That's what he's talking about.
It was obvious from the jump, wasn't it? I mean, first possession for Kansas, they go down and score, and then defensive possession after defensive possession. Iowa State had 4 turnovers at the first media timeout. They had a couple more quickly after that, and like you said, they ended up with 10 in the first half. You don't have to be a basketball expert to look at these 4 games in conference play and really see coaching, the impact that has, and why Bill Self is a Hall of Fame coach. He says we need to win similar to how we did in the non-conference, which is muddying it up, doing some of the things you said, winning the 50-50 balls, forcing other teams to play bad. TCU, UCF, West Virginia, there were large chunks of all of those games where those teams offensively really got whatever they want. I mean, scored every possession or got an offensive putback. Iowa State looked awful against Kansas, and Kansas is the big reason why, because KU found a way to make them play poorly. And it just seemed like there was desperation, but not nervousness, right? It was Kansas playing desperate, doing what they needed to do, and they set the tone early. And I think now they've seen, okay, we've got Peterson back, but we still need to win the way that we won without him. This is the recipe for longstanding success.
Yeah, and on a night where he shoots 40%, and obviously he had Torrey chasing him around for much of the night, you saw the Kansas offense lean on other guys, and obviously Trey White has his career high with 5 threes, which was great to see. But everybody, that's as good a balance as I think we're going to see out of Kansas on a night where he shortened his primary rotation but got more out of each of those 7 guys than he had been getting. Jamari McDowell was really good. Obviously, Elmarco made some great plays. But Bryson Tiller, I thought, from the jump was more assertive and played to his size and strength more. When we left West Virginia, you watched a kid out of Hoxie, Kansas kind of bully ball us in Obioha, and it was frustrating because obviously we've got all these guys with the 5-star pedigree and the NBA draft pick potential, and then this big wide load just kind of pushed us around. I don't know what they spent on him in the transfer portal, but at 10-6 a game at UNC Wilmington, I'm guessing it's not quite in the same tax bracket as what some of KU's additions commanded, and that kind of made you feel like, man, how come we got pushed around? They're guards backing down our guys and occupying a lot of clock, and then getting good paint positioning and close finishes. It just didn't make you feel like we were asserting our will, playing to our athleticism, playing with the tenacity that Coach Self's commanded. But to see them flip that switch one night later, and I know it's easier to do when you're at home and it's top 2 opponent and all that, but I think that creates not just belief in the minds of this locker room of what Coach is preaching can and will work, but tangible proof of what it looks like and how good it felt to play to that degree and put the hammer down on a team that good. I mean, the last time we beat a top 5 team like a drum like that was long before Dan Courtwright was alive. What year were you born?
98.
98, yeah. You know, the 95 UConn game was our last blowout of a top 5 team to that degree. And so it just goes to show you how special Tuesday night was. You can't get that intensity level every night. I know that's hard for some fans to wrap their minds around. Why can't we play like that all the time?
That's their favorite thing to say, isn't it?
And it's tough in an 18-game Big 12 grind to expect that every single night. But if you start out with that mindset, and I know it's so cliche that, you know, defense will travel and that kind of thing, but that want-to level, that intensity level of Elmarko getting what Bill Self described as a 1090 ball. You talk about 50-50 balls when you got a 50-50 chance at it. That was 1090. You know, if they buy into that, more nights than not. That's all I'm asking for. More nights than not. How many games do we have left? 14? You know, give me that type of intensity and just all out play with your hair on fire. 10 out of 14. And, man, I'll take these Hawks chances most nights. February is going to be a bear. And I don't know how much folks have looked ahead, but, I mean, it's almost scary.
January 31st, it starts, right? That's why you got to get a few here.
Exactly. I've been saying February Eve is when it starts because the BYU game on the 31st and then into February where you got Arizona twice, you got the return trip to Ames with Iowa State. You got opponents like, obviously, BYU coming in here on the 31st, but then Houston as well, Texas Tech. I mean, it's brutal. But to me, this is why you got to make hay while you can. And we will lament and regret losing those 2 early Big 12 road games, I'm sure, when the final standings roll around. But maybe you steal one back along the way. But the point is, got to protect home court tomorrow night versus Baylor. Got to win 2 winnable road games next week in Boulder and in Manhattan. And then if you do that, based on some of the self-cannibalization that's going to happen in this conference, like this weekend, you know, BYU and Texas Tech, somebody's got to lose that game. That's going to start to happen more and more. You can creep your way back in it. But we bogeyed 2 holes we needed to birdie or par in the UCF and West Virginia road trips. That will have an effect at some point unless you directly steal a couple in February. Winning on Tuesday night, I don't think was stealing one because we were at home, but it was a step towards stealing more because of the belief and the confidence and the momentum that was pulled from a win like that in such emphatic fashion.
100%. Brian Hanni, voice of the Jayhawks, joins us here in studio. Brian, wanted to get a little technical with you because obviously we saw the aggressiveness and the attack and the want to out of these guys, but something that struck me is the fact that you had 2 different offenses, one without Darren Peterson and one with Darren Peterson throughout this year. The one without Darren Peterson, you're more of a gritty team. You put the ball on the ground and you drive more, right? You've seen Trey White and Melvin Council where whenever Darren Peterson was out there, the ball was sticking. Guys were settling for shots. This is the first time we've seen the 2 kind of mesh, and there was a lot of times where we saw Darren Peterson kind of running the corners and the wings while Melvin Council was the one bringing up the ball. Do you think that potentially could be the reason why this was happening, I guess, because Darren Peterson was garnering more attention over on the outside and allowing more space to kind of happen? Or I guess, do you share the same sentiment in terms of, you know, this is the first time that we're really seeing the 2 different styles of offense really kind of mesh together?
Well, I think the easiest answer to that is the amount of defensive attention he demands is going to always lead to open looks for guys, and his ability to find the open man. He has excellent floor vision. We've seen him pass out of double teams and find that open player is exceptional, and that's part of the benefit and the byproduct of having a guy as incredible as Darren Peterson. Now, Iowa State was also trapping and double teaming on the post touches that we got, so it's also imperative when teams try to do that you pass out of it and you have wanting and capable three-point threats ready to step up and take and make those threes. We saw that the other night with one of our best three-point shooting games of the season. I think it was our 5th game with double-digit threes. But to see 5 from Trey White, to see Jamari McDowell hitting a couple, to seeing so many guys capitalize on more open looks than what you would have without Darren on the floor, or without the double teams coming in the post that we were passing out of. That to me was a good sign. You can't count on them hitting those shots at that clip every night, obviously. But the best byproduct of the attention he's going to command is his ability to pass out of it. And so whether it's him bringing it up the floor, forcing double team help when he starts to drive downhill, or whether it's him, as you said, running the baseline, trying to get open off ball screens on the perimeter, eventually in just about any half-court set, if he touches the ball, he's probably going to command, if not a full double team, at least 1.5 defenders.
Right.
So if we have a quick ball rotation and you've got capable and ready shooters on the other side, there's going to be better looks in the next 2 months than we were getting in the first 2 months based on the talent that he is and the attention he demands. And so we got to find a way to capitalize on that. And I think one of the best things for this Kansas team was to see everybody else scoring on a night where he wasn't his most efficient and where he did have to fight through Torrey and a lot of great Iowa State defensive attention, because it proved to those other guys, it reminded them, yeah, we're still plenty capable, and actually it might be a little easier when he is here.
Yeah.
And that's not
believe it or not,
some kind of like breakthrough
crazy,
concept. That's pretty elementary, but getting them to play in concert with one another and be excited about the chances his presence demands, I think is the next step in this offense's evolution.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of good to talk about for Tuesday night, and certainly we start with the competing every possession and, Kansas doing this, doing that. One thing that Bill Self said that I thought was interesting, he thought playing a part in the success on Tuesday was shortening the rotation. We didn't see Cole Rosario. We didn't see Jaden Dawson. Just stuck with 7 guys, right? You had Marco and Jamari, or what was it? Was it
Jamarco McJackson.
McJackson that we saw KU Hoops put out. There's something to be said, I would imagine, for rhythm, for being out there. It doesn't mean that Kansas isn't going to use Cole Rosario and Jaden Dawson, but you got to give credit to Marco. He's been so good on the defensive end. Not the most polished offensive player, but he's been good defensively. I thought he played with good aggressiveness on the offensive side. And then Jamari McDowell, wow. I mean, you talk about the 0.5 rule. Bill Self's talked about that regarding the Spurs and how you either pass, dribble, or shoot in 0.5. Jamari driving, finding open guys, and ball doesn't stick with him out there. So a lot to like out of those third-year Jayhawks.
Yeah, no doubt. First off, there's a guy trying to deliver some alcohol right now to this plush studio we have in here, so it's a little distracting. He's got a big
sights
bottle
and
of whiskey in
sounds.
his hand. But I would say this, in a game like that, Bill's going to go with the veterans he trusts the most, particularly defensively. And I think that in the case of the guys you mentioned that didn't play, doesn't mean you're not going to see them get rotational minutes going forward. But this is the time of year where you're starting to tighten the belt a little bit. I'll tell you this, I give a lot of post-game tours to various philanthropic organizations. They're usually pediatric cancer patients. The other day I was giving one on Tuesday night to somebody who donated to the Lawrence Humane Society. And this is at like 11:25 p.m. We're making the rounds, and we get into the practice gym, and there's Cole Rosario with a manager rebounding for him. He's got his Christian praise and worship music cranked up to like a 10 level of audio, and he's firing up threes. He was there long after we left, so he was probably there past midnight. And I let you in on that window just to let you know that even if he didn't hear his name called that night to come in and be a part of it, that's still the guy who's going to factor in at some point. Obviously, what's held him back is just sustained three-point shots going in and him seeing the ball go through the hole, because you love what he brings from a physical standpoint as a guy who crashes the glass on the offensive end. You love what he'll eventually be able to bring on both ends of the floor the more he settles in. But the point is, until guys like that have more sustained stretches of consistency in the high level, make or break your season type games like Tuesday night was, believe it or not, Self's going to go with the guys that he trusts the most, that are program guys that have been in it for, in Jamari and Marco's case, 2.5 years, and he knows what he's going to get defensively and on both ends of the floor. But don't give up on Cole. The fact that Jaden Dawson was called upon and did hit a 3 in Morgantown was at least a good sign that, that they're still trying to push some buttons there. It just hasn't come as consistently for him either. And sadly, we're getting to a point in the season when you start to pass the 20 games played mark for a team, you kind of are what you're going to be.
Yeah.
And so for those guys, they got to stay ready. And that's why I love seeing Cole working overtime to make it happen. But it's definitely a good sign for the vote of confidence that Elmarko and Jamari have earned, that Bill turned to them and trusted them as much as they did. And when Jay Billis is still tweeting about Elmarko's hustle play the day after the game, and it's not just us Kansas Homer media guys talking about it, and that just goes to show you, what a tremendous individual play that was, and nothing's going to give you more street cred and playing time and confidence in the eyes of the head coach than giving up your body like that and laying it all on the line like Elmarko did. So he's building upon, his playing time as we speak. And hopefully, as you said, Sean, the offensive contributions will come. But in the meantime, they just need him to play to the explosive athlete that he is, heat guys up on the perimeter. And I like this team's ability to guard defensively with bigger, more athletic, more aggressive guards than what we've had in some recent seasons, where we had good defenders, but they were a little spindly in terms of their size and that kind of thing. I like having an Elmarko type guy, and I think he brings a lot in that regard.
Yeah, 100%. Jamarco McJackson. I loved that.
Let's make it a thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Both those guys coming off the bench were absolutely huge. Brian, I want to talk to you about some storylines, I guess, potentially if Kansas were to lose that game. You look at it, Kansas staring at 1-3 in Big 12 play. All of a sudden, you're looking at Baylor thinking, man, we could go 1-4 right now. All of a sudden, Kansas comes out, they whoop up on Iowa State. Now they're 2-2. They're looking at going 3-2 in Big 12 play. I guess, do you think that this could be one of those games where we look back on in March and say that was the pivoting point for this Kansas squad?
Yeah, I think it absolutely could. And I always use like a golf analogy. You could stick the tee shot from 180 feet, 180 yards that is, within 5 feet, and it's a thing of beauty, and you're high-fiving your buddies and all that. But if you go up and miss the putt and don't make birdie, then
I can relate.
all of a sudden, you're not remembering it the same. That win on Tuesday was amazing. As we said, it was the most convincing, dominant win over a top-5 team that we've had in 30 years. But if we don't back it up by taking that momentum, taking that internal belief amongst these guys that, okay, if we play with tenacity and intensity, we can go out and beat anybody, then it doesn't hold the same weight that it would otherwise. But it could most definitely be a line in the sand moment for this team on the heels of them huddling up with their players-only meeting, which I think the media took and ran with. It wasn't quite as big as an orchestrated, let's meet at Henry T's over waffle fries and plan our national championship run. It was more like, let's hang around after the team meeting with the coaches on Sunday and talk as a private group, just us. And I love it that the veterans, Melvin and Trey, got together and initiated that. And I love the way they performed on the heels of that. But as you said, you got to string together multiple efforts like that and make it more the regularity and not the exception that we play with that type of all-out intensity and force teams into playing well below their typical production and efficiency, because we have the horses to do it. But we want to see that turned up, play to your size version of Bryson Tiller from the jump like we did the other night. We want to see that collective defensive along the perimeter prowess like we saw the other night. And if so, then I said this to somebody the other day, and it's too early to lock in on this after one big game like that. But remember UConn in 2023 when they entered the tournament with a full head of steam, and they were a 4 seed in our region, but everybody in the national media was picking UConn to go to the Final Four out of that region, which as a Kansas fan, it probably ticked you off until you watch UConn play. Right. And then you realize the margin they were beating teams by and all that. I'm not saying we're that yet after one game with a 21-point win over Iowa State. One big outburst a season does not make. But could in the next month, if we navigate this gauntlet of a schedule with more success than folks are giving us credit for, could this be a Kansas team on the 3 or 4 seed line that has a similar swagger to them, including a dynamic potential number 1 pick in the draft and athleticism up and down the roster? The comparison's not perfect to what UConn had roster-wise, but the point is their seed line was not indicative of how much they were feared.
Right.
And they ended up winning the whole thing and kind of lapping the field and doing it. I'm not saying KU's going to do that, but we put ourselves in position that as you and I talk here today, what day is today? The 16th?
15th.
15th?
15th.
We're like a 5 seed, right? And maybe we move that up to a 3 seed in the next 5 or 6 weeks. But could we be much, much better than whatever number is next to our name on Selection Sunday based on the horses we have on this roster? Abso-freaking-lutely.
Yeah.
And that's my hope for this team. But that's just a one-night sample size on Tuesday. We got to back that up with 8 or 10 more like that to start to feel that way. But my point is, don't get down in the dumps that we have 5 losses right now, because we're just now finding ourselves. And when Bill Self said on Monday's press conference, we're probably 2 weeks behind our development based on all the he's in, he's out, he's in, he's out type, November, December inconsistency we had with our roster. We're a little bit further behind where he thought we'd be mid-January. But let them catch up to what he thought he had all along, and I'd go to battle with that coach and this team just about any night. We just got to keep that development coming.
Last couple of years, Kansas has had a lot of kind of icky 1-1 weeks, right, in conference play because the conference has been so good. KU was down by KU standards the past couple years. Got to start avoiding that, and I think maybe it would be a scenario had you not lost to both West Virginia and UCF on the road as you did, you'd look at 2 road games next week and say, I would understand if we go 1-1. But now you're in a situation where, and this is to your point about January 31st and beyond, you got to win these 3 games. You know, you hate to say it, but you can't really accept much less. And as Bill Self said, told his team, screwed it up. How do you unscrew it now? Well, you have to beat Baylor tomorrow, and I'll give you a chance to say a word on the Bears before you get out of here, Brian. But then 2 road games next week. Got to take the show on the road against teams that are likely going to be in the bottom half of the conference, as UCF and West Virginia are, and get to 5-2 before that slate. And again, we talk a lot of records and seeds, and to your point, what's most important is playing good ball, but we still want to win championships around here, right? So it starts with tomorrow. You got to go out. You got to win that game, protect home court, and make it a 2-0 week.
Yeah, completely agree. And I actually like Baylor as much or better than TCU. And I know TCU beat them head-to-head. I think that's a classic case of catching them before they're going to be what they could be. And they'll play a second time, by the way. That's a matchup there in the Lone Star State that gets a return trip. My point is, TCU and Baylor are both in that second-tier category. Baylor might actually have more upside on their roster. You talked about Yesufu in the previous segment, top 20 guy, 5-star guy, highly drafted in terms of mock draft projections for him. Cam Carr's been really good. His dad played 6 years in the league. Heck, Iguodala's kid's on this roster. He's not playing, but they got some NBA Suns on this team. Everybody wanted to talk about Najee, and I understand why. Number 31 pick in the draft in 2023, and played some summer league but didn't sign an NBA contract. He's not playing much yet and hasn't been a factor yet. But hey, a month from now they could look way different. What I like about their team is, the balance is there. After Carr's 20 a game, you got 5 more guys that average in double figures. They've got big wings. In the case of Yesufu, he was I think he was number 5 rated small forward in his class. And they've got a bunch of 6'5" guys that can absolutely crash the boards and rebound, even if you don't play through the bigs like some previous Baylor teams have. So I like this club's upside. I think they're a really talented group that will just get better with time. So I'm glad we're playing them in mid-January. I think they're every bit as tough a test as TCU was. It doesn't mean I expect overtime, but I think that Kansas will be pushed on Friday night. I absolutely do. And if you get the win, it's the type of win that I think will look better as the season goes on. If you get the win, you've won 2 in a row, and I absolutely expect them to go to Boulder and go to Manhattan and hold serve. But we don't take anything for granted anymore, as tough as life is on the road in this league, as tough as life is at home or away in this league. But if you want to get back in the race and unscrew it, as Coach Self said and as you paraphrased, then you absolutely have to win your next 3. Because as we talked about, it really ratchets up after that. And so it's a portion of our schedule that, you can afford no sidesteps. You've already had those in Morgantown and Orlando. So let's go get these next 3 starting with tomorrow night.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And, it's just a scenario where, as a fan, you beat Iowa State, you're elated, and then there's the creeps in the back of your mind, well, we got to beat Baylor, right? It's just how it goes, and it's the grind. And to your point, Baylor, a team who I think they were 44th in the net, so not top 30 for a potential quad 1 win for Kansas beating them at home, but it would be if Baylor goes on the sort of uptick that we all expect them to go on. So one of those that, like you said, might be a better win should Kansas get it from a quadrant perspective, a seeding perspective, all that, which I know we don't want to talk about that too much yet, but it's a good team, and they're going to keep getting better. Brian, tell us about Nate Miller before you get out of here.
Yeah, big thanks to Nate Miller for sponsoring these reports. He is a terrific asset if you're looking at your long-term investment portfolio for retirement, or perhaps you just sold a business and you're looking to reinvest those funds. He really specializes in people making that transition as well. So check him out today, MillerRetirementGroup.com. That's MillerRetirementGroup.com. Always a pleasure, guys. I'm going to go let that guy in. He's still knocking
please
on the
do.
glass. Big bottle of whiskey. We got to get that in here so that the Hanni and the Hawks guests can be served. Remember Alonzo Jameson in here? He was making Sean and Dan be bartenders.
Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah, check that. That's Alonzo Jameson's special episode of Hanni and the Hawks, and all the great Hanni and the Hawks episodes sponsored by Jefferson's. Brian, we'll see you tomorrow on Naismith Drive. Looking forward to it.
Can't wait, guys.
All right, more coming up on Rock Chalk Sports after this on ESPN Kansas City and KansasNation.com.
Hey, what's up, Chuck Nation? Bidunga here, and make sure you check out the new KansasNation.com. Go Chalk.
Your home for the NFL. Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Bursting in, touchdown Mahomes! Rushing touchdown! 1-yard run over the right tackle. Shotgun snap, 4-man rush. Line drive throw near side, belt right cut to the 5. Diving to the pylon. It is a touchdown by Worthy. What a throw, but what a turn and dive!
Your home of Westwood One, the NFL playoffs and the Super Bowl. Sports Radio 810 WHB.
The new year with new deals at Crown Toyota of Lawrence. 2025 RAV4 models, 4.75 APR for up to 72 months. Low APRs for 2026 Camry and Tacoma models, or go all electric in a 2026 BZ for 0% APR.
Listen up, guys. A new year is coming, and you deserve to feel your absolute best. Whether you're chasing peak performance, trying to reignite intimacy, or simply want to feel your best, Game Day Men's Health Lawrence is your calling. Situated in a plush man cave setting, their services for testosterone replacement therapy, erectile dysfunction, vitamin therapy, and weight loss are sure to give you the boost you need. Make an online appointment today by searching for Game Day Men's Health Lawrence. Step up your game in 2025 with Game Day.
I'm DJ Withers, and you're watching KansasNation.com.
Better water now, pay later? What's not to love? Hey, it's Bob with Culligan Water. And for a limited time, we're offering no payments and no interest for 6 months on the water you and your family deserve. Our state-of-the-art residential equipment creates water that's purified, soft, and delicious. Contact us today for details and schedule your free consultation online at CulliganKansasCity.com. Culligan, it's water you love.
Transform your home into a serene oasis with a pro-built pool and patio sunroom. Their expertly crafted sunrooms offer breathtaking views, natural light, and year-round comfort. Whether you're relaxing, entertaining, or simply enjoying the beauty of nature, their sunrooms are the perfect addition to your home. Visit them at 4708 Northwest Gateway Avenue in Riverside to see their stunning selection. Pro-built pool and patio, where your dream living space comes to life.
This is Dale Shaw, and you're watching KansasNation.com.
I want to tell you about our friends over at Game Day Men's Health Lawrence. Mitch Bales, Sam Abram, and the entire team over there will help you get back to your younger self, get you back to feeling the way you did when you were a little bit younger. If you don't have the energy to be at home with your family, to go to work, to go to the gym like you used to, Game Day Men's Health Lawrence can help you out. First visit is completely complimentary. They'll do a blood draw. There's a 3-step process. They'll check your T levels, all sorts of things at Game Day Men's Health Lawrence that'll make you feel better. It's a comfortable setting as well. Full-fledged medical clinic, but they make you feel at home. Can't say enough about our friends over at Game Day Men's Health Lawrence. Check them out online or here in West Lawrence. Tell them the guys at Kansas Nation sent you. And, looking forward to continuing that partnership. Check them out over at Game Day. All right. Let's go back to the KU locker room after an emotional blowout win over Iowa State on Tuesday, 84-63. David Lawrence caught up with assistant coach Kurtis Townsend, who also had some words on his scout, the Baylor Bears.
KT, you've been around this for, 23 years. I mean, I guess we shouldn't be surprised, that Kansas knocks off a top 5 team in Allen Fieldhouse. You've done it 13 times now against only 2 losses.
You know what? And we probably this year more than any year I've been here, we needed it with the way, dropping a couple on the road and the way we played TCU here where we had to come back at the end. So we needed a game like this to give the guys some confidence. Hopefully they feel good about how they played. Iowa State's a really good team, and you know, they're as good as anybody in the country and have a chance to win it all. So for us to play like that here, I think the way we guarded was really good. Kind of shortened rotation where it was only 7 players, but they were playing so good and in a rhythm. And it's about the first time I seen with Darren in there where everybody felt like they knew what they were doing, and so, you know, hopefully it's his 8th game, I think, playing with us. So, you know, hopefully we'll just keep getting better and better with him in there. And he didn't even have a good game for what we're used to seeing. Sure. So when he gets going, I think we have a chance. We just take it one game at a time, and got Baylor coming in, and we got to focus and try to win that one.
Yeah, before we talk about that, one more thing about tonight. It looked like we got aggressive with the bigs right from the onset. Tiller and Bidunga getting the shots inside, and then that defense came back that we'd missed for a couple of games, allowing just 24% first half.
And you know what? We were really good early in the year defensively, and we kind of got away from it, and we were about as bad as we've been here in a while on the defensive end, allowing almost 80-some points a game in the league. And so we got back to playing on the defensive end first. But like you said, our bigs were aggressive. Bryson and Flory both got us off to a good start. And I thought Trey was really good throughout the game, as far as scoring and rebounding. So it was a good win, like I said, that should give us confidence going forward.
Yeah, I don't remember many times having a conference game on Friday night.
Yeah.
And a chance to come back. You've got the scout on Baylor. What are you seeing?
You know what? They're 0-3. They were 0-3. They beat Oklahoma State tonight by 15 on the road. So it's a good Baylor team. You know, 2 of their losses, well, they lost at TCU, at TCU by 7. Then they had to play Iowa State and Houston, 2 of the best teams in the league. So the way they got started, they played some of the good teams. They got a lot of talent. They got some guards that can score. Carr is one of the best players in the league, one of the leading scorers in the league, averaging about 20 a game. And, 2 good point guards that look to score. They got a couple big guys in there that are good, and then they got a freshman that's averaging 18 a game that's supposed to be a, first-round draft pick. So they got some talent, and we're really going to have to play, and they change up defenses and give you different looks. So
any zone?
Yes, they play zone. They'll go 1-1-3, and this won't mean anything to you, but the head coach at Virginia last year, Ron Sanchez, who's Virginia's known as a great defensive team, he kind of took over the defense for them. So they kind of, when they go man-to-man, which they play more man than zone, it's a different man than they played. It's more what they known as pack line defense, where don't allow a lot of drives and try to contest threes. And so it's a little bit different than how they played in the past, but it'll be a good game. We're going to have to come and play well again.
Yeah, it could end up being a pretty special week for Kansas basketball.
Yes, it could, and it would be good for us to get on that track, because then we got to go on the road for a couple games, and so that's how it is in this league, and you just got to take it one game at a time. And we dug a little bit of a hole. It's not too deep yet, but we can't dig any farther down. We gotta keep pushing our way up. So, and I think this was a good start tonight.
KT, congratulations. Thanks for joining us.
Okay.
Everyone's tired. Players are tired. The rotation got shorter, and good night's rest.
Yeah, with about 2 minutes left, I looked at my Apple Watch and it said bedtime. So I know it was late for me. So I'm gonna get a good night's rest for sure.
Okay. Appreciate you.
That's David Lawrence and Kurtis Townsend post-game. Great locker room scene, 84-63 KU over Iowa State. Now it's all about backing it up. Hawks against the Bears from Baylor tomorrow night, 7 o'clock. And you can hear coverage beginning at 5:30 with the Crimson and Blue Show on Sports Radio 810 WHB. KansasNation.com, the place to be for all your game day coverage as well. After this special segment called Let Dan Cook, Dan is going to take you around the world of sports. He's got John Fanta stuff. He's got Dante Moore stuff. He's got Matt Nagy stuff. Plus, we're going to give some game picks a little early, but we could squeeze it in. NFL divisional round coming up this weekend. That's next. Rock Chalk Sports, KansasNation.com, ESPN, Kansas City.
I'm DJ Withers, and you're watching KansasNation.com.
Your home for the NFL. Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Bursting in, touchdown Mahomes! Rushing touchdown! 1-yard run over the right tackle. Shotgun snap, 4-man rush. Line drive throw near side, belt right cut to the 5. Diving to the pylon. It is a touchdown by Worthy! What a throw, but what a turn and dive!
Your home of Westwood One, the NFL playoffs and the Super Bowl. Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Listen up, guys. A new year is coming, and you deserve to feel your absolute best. Whether you're chasing peak performance, trying to reignite intimacy, or simply want to feel your best, Game Day Men's Health Lawrence is your calling. Situated in a plush man cave setting, their services for testosterone replacement therapy, erectile dysfunction, vitamin therapy, and weight loss are sure to give you the boost you need. Make an online appointment today by searching for Game Day Men's Health Lawrence. Step up your game in 2025 with Game Day.
New year brings new deals at Crown Volkswagen of Lawrence. Get up to $6,000 off remaining 2025 Tiguan and Taos models in stock.
I'm Kenny Logan Jr. and you're watching KansasNation.com.
Transform your home into a serene oasis with a pro-built pool and patio sunroom. Their expertly crafted sunrooms offer breathtaking views, natural light, and year-round comfort. Whether you're relaxing, entertaining, or simply enjoying the beauty of nature, their sunrooms are the perfect addition to your home. Visit them at 4708 Northwest Gateway Avenue in Riverside to see their stunning selection. Pro-built pool and patio, where your dream living space comes to life.
Hanni and the Hawks is presented by Jefferson's with 2 Lawrence locations. Home of the best wings in town, 21 signature sauces. You got to check them out. But if wings aren't your thing, how about a burger? They hand patty their certified Angus beef every single day. Also hand bread their tenders. They make their ranch in-house. There is truly something for everybody at Jefferson's. Go see my buddy Brandon Graham and the entire crew at Jefferson's, either on Mass or Wakarusa in Lawrence, Kansas.
I'm Justice Finkley. You're watching KansasNation.com. Rock Chalk.
CrownAutomotive.com, the place to be. Miles Schneider and his team over in South Lawrence. Really, really big sponsors of us here at Kansas Nation. Appreciate that partnership. You can go to CrownAutomotive.com. You can get pre-approved. You can schedule a Toyota service, schedule Volkswagen service. They got a great selection of used cars as well as, obviously, a fantastic selection of new cars. They will get you in the vehicle that you require. Check them out at CrownAutomotive.com. Dan, potential huge news for KU football that is going to make, if true, some of our friends from out west not particularly thrilled.
No, absolutely not. We were pre-recording the show right now, so it's like 1:10 in the afternoon. So if anything comes out later, we'll be all over it. But there are a lot of rumblings going on right now about a particular running back who is from Kansas, played out west for a couple of seasons, in Dylan Edwards. Dylan Edwards apparently has been in talks. He's obviously in the portal once again. Had a really great season his first year with Colorado. And if you know anything about the Dylan Edwards lore, it was really interesting. He came out of Derby, was one of the most highly touted recruits coming out of Kansas. Initially signed with K-State. And then right after that, he goes, actually, just kidding, I'm going to Notre Dame. Actually, just kidding, I'm going to go to Colorado. And he goes to Colorado, and then after that 1 year there, he goes, actually, I'm going to go to K-State. So he goes to K-State. Last year, he played in only 4 games. He did have 20 carries against UCF, did have a touchdown in that game, also had a touchdown in the Baylor game, 10 carries for 26 yards, had 166 yards against UCF. But you look at the stats. The stats are there. 2024 for K-State, he had 74 carries, 546 yards, 5 touchdowns. For Colorado, his freshman year, 76 carries, 321 yards, and a touchdown. This is what we've been talking about. This is the breakaway speed that you need in that running back room. Right now, I've likened both Yassine Willis and Jalen Dupree as kind of the Kareem Hunt.
Yeah, you've been all about the Kareem Hunt comp.
What is it? Am I wrong? 3 yards in a cloud of dust. Between the tackles, they're really good. They're built kind of like a modern day fullback. Not built, but that's how they run, right? They don't have the breakaway home run speed. Dylan Edwards is a home run hitter, and he has been really good all throughout his collegiate career, really highly touted out of high school. So if he does decide to come to Kansas, this could be potentially huge for the running back room. And imagine, just my first initial thought was, this is hilarious if Kansas does manage to land Dylan Edwards. Now, nothing is official yet. There's just been a lot of links to him.
Do you have any excitement with the potential backfield of Zeke Marshall and Dylan Edwards under Andy Kotelnicki?
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Oh, my God. I can't believe you're going to say that.
K, Dylan Edwards in that offense is going to be so much fun to watch, man. That's going to be so much fun. I'm really excited about it. Again, nothing for sure, but most importantly, it's absolutely hilarious that a former K-State running back could potentially come to Kansas and have an illustrious career here. So hopefully that's the case. I believe he does have 2 more years of eligibility because last year technically he redshirted because he only played in 4 games. So we'll have 2 more years of eligibility. We'll see if Kansas does land him. We'll see if Kansas does land him, will he stay here for the next 2 years? Who knows, right? And there's a lot of different things where K-State fans were not really happy about Dylan Edwards. Colorado fans were not really happy about it. I'm all for it. I think it would be a great pickup. So that's just my take on that. So that's a little bit of KU football recruiting news.
Why don't you expand a little bit on potentially Zeke Marshall and Dylan Edwards being in the backfield under Andy Kotelnicki and why that makes you excited?
One word. Option.
Electric.
Oh, also electric.
One word.
But option.
Okay.
Well, I think running the option with those two is going to be.
I thought you were going electric.
I was going to go electric too.
I did.
But like I said, I think outside of the tackles, he's such a threat. He's so fast. He's got true track speed, man. I mean, the kid's just a home run hitter. So really, really excited about that. A couple of more things I wanted to get to, just kind of a little sports whip around here. John Fanta, he did tweet this out yesterday. He said, best news you will read today. The NCAA has announced transfer windows in men's and women's basketball to open for a 15-day period the day after the national championship game. This is a change from it opening during March Madness. Fantastic news, and this is something that we've seen a lot of, and a lot of controversy around when the portal opens, both in football and in basketball. Football's a little harder because you have the enrollment dates kind of set in place, right? And they did manage to push it back a little bit, but there are still guys who are getting into the transfer portal before they're playing in their bowl games or the playoff games or whatever it may be. That's something else. But with basketball, it would open during March Madness, and that would create another encapsulation of the word madness, if you will, where teams were playing and all of a sudden you were having guys entering the transfer portal while these other teams were still continuing to play. It's terrible. So I'm really glad, and it makes sense to do this, right? The semester doesn't end until May. So they have plenty of time to be able to do this. I don't know why this hasn't been a thing up until just now, but this is effective immediately. So happening this year, the transfer portal will open the day after the national championship, which is absolutely huge news. It allows everybody to kind of have an even playing field. Like you look at, and I'm not saying that it's an unfair advantage to be playing in the national championship or a Final Four or something along those lines, but Florida, they didn't really have the resources to be able to go out and get a bunch of guys in the transfer portal because they were playing games still, right? You look at all these teams who are making deep runs in March Madness, and other guys were determining where they were going to go. There was plenty of other people who were already settling on their destinations. Meanwhile, the teams who were making deep runs in March Madness were essentially kind of being punished for being good by not being able to utilize the transfer portal in that time. So again, it's great, and they were able to utilize it later, but obviously a lot of the talent was being scooped up before they were able to really put their main priority on the transfer portal. So that's another piece of news that I'm actually really excited for.
And you said that was John Fanta.
Johnny Fanta, my favorite. I'll have to think about it. He might be my favorite college basketball analyst.
Insider.
I think he's so much fun, and big Cleveland Browns fan too.
Is he? Oh, bless his heart.
He hates the Browns, but he loves them. He's a big Cleveland Browns fan. Other news, again, this is kind of a sports whip around. Wanted to touch on this. So apparently 20 men have been charged in a point shaving scheme involving 39 college basketball players on 17 NCAA Division I teams, leading to 29 games being fixed, according to federal indictment unsealed Thursday in an Eastern District of Pennsylvania. There's a lot of schools on this list, and I'll read through the list, and I'll kind of tell you why I think this happened and kind of the dangers of it. Obviously, we know the dangers of it, but the schools named in this indictment was Abilene Christian, Alabama State, Buffalo, Coppin State, DePaul, Eastern Michigan, Fordham, Kennesaw State, LaSalle, New Orleans, Nichols State, North Carolina A&T, Northwestern State, Robert Morris, St. Louis, Southern Miss, and Tulane. So I understand why it's this group of teams, because the NIL money, I mean, if you think about it.
St. John's is in there, though.
St. John's is not in there.
St. John's is not?
No, it's St. Louis.
I could have sworn when I read the article it said St. John's.
I
Anyway,
don't believe
continue.
St. John's
Go ahead
is
with
in
what
it,
you were going to say.
But the NIL money is not the same there. So when you look at teams like this and they see all these guys at Kansas and Duke and Kentucky and wherever they're going, getting all this money, and all of a sudden they're stuck at Coppin State, they're not receiving any kind of money, but some guy comes up and says, hey, maybe go under 5 assists. You know, that's something that you can potentially do. Or DePaul, hey, lose a bunch of games and we'll pay you guys a bunch of money. It's hard to say no when you see the other team. And I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's good or right by any means whatsoever. It's the wrong thing to do. But temptation can really grasp a hold of you in situations like this when you see other guys getting so much money and you are not, right? So it really stinks. By the way, Ed Cooley, I think he went 2-something in Big East play a couple years ago, and that both of his wins were against DePaul while they were point shaving. So not a great look against Ed Cooley. But no, it really at the core of this, it's just unfortunate. It starts small, right? And we've seen this happen with the Jonte Porters of the world, you know, shaving his unders or giving out information, and he was banned for life from the NBA. And then all of a sudden you see guys like Terry Rozier, and Chauncey Billups wasn't involved in point shaving yet. It was more of a illegal poker ring kind of thing. But you're seeing it get bigger and bigger and bigger. And as gambling gets more ingrained into our society, it's not like this stuff has never happened before, right? You hear about the Boston colleges back in the 1950s and 60s or whatever, where they were in bed with the mafia. But gambling was illegal back then, so it was harder to track. Now it's really easy to track. Everything's online. You're seeing the lines move in real time where something could potentially be fishy. All of a sudden you go, oh, wait, that's weird. Why is everybody hammering this guy's under? Or why is everybody hammering the under on the points here? It's just not great, clearly. And really unfortunate for college basketball and the way that it's going. I think right off the bat, the way that you fix this is you get rid of player props. I know that that's a big thing that people like to do. I think you get rid of player props. Now, in terms of point shaving, in terms of lines, in terms of spreads, all that different kind of stuff, that's in and of itself its own thing, and you don't have as much control over that. But you do, you know what you do have control over? Hey, I'm not going to get 5 assists, or I'm not going to score 10 points today, or I'm not going to get 8 rebounds today, or whatever that may be. So I think getting rid of player props is probably the best way to do this. But people are still going to try to cheat, and the world is going to be filled with stupid people who make dumb decisions And it's just, it really is unfortunate. And again, you look at the list of schools and you can kind of understand why. If somebody comes to you and says, hey, you want to make some money, meanwhile, you're seeing guys flourish at the Power 4 level, you know, buying Louis Vuitton bags and driving around Porsches and all different kinds of stuff. And you're driving your 2006 Toyota Camry wearing Skechers. Hey, maybe I do want to make a little bit of money. It's easy for temptation to kind of grasp guys in a situation like this. So it's really, really unfortunate. Obviously, the FBI is involved, and there's a lot of different pieces involved with this. We'll see what the ramifications are going to be regarding this story. But really, just you know, it's the worst part about sports is cheating and shaving the points. That's what makes sports pure. Sports is unpredictable. It's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be, you know, just something that's pure and untouched. And whenever it gets manipulated like this, it really just is super unfortunate. So I don't know if you have anything to say on that, but it's just
CBSSports.com. Again, FBI claiming more than 29 games were fixed in 23-24 and 24-25. One of the biggest gambling conspiracies in American sports history. This article is written by Will Backus and Matt Norlander. So check that out if you want more information on that front. What else, Dan, do we have in the world of sports?
Chiefs are probably going to be looking for a new offensive coordinator. Matt Nagy is being interviewed for a number of different head coaching positions. As we know, there's 9 NFL head coaching positions that are open as of right now. Matt Nagy is one of those guys on the short list of potentially getting another NFL head coaching job. I thought he was a good head coach for the Bears. He took Mitch Trubisky to the playoffs, so there is something to be said about that. He's got a pretty good offensive mind, and I think he's a relatively good leader of men. So the Chiefs probably looking for a new offensive coordinator. Off the bat, a lot of people are talking about Mike Kafka, who was here for the Chiefs from 2017 to 2021 as an offensive analyst. Now he is he was with the Bills as an offensive coordinator and has done such a tremendous job over there. I think if the Chiefs are able to bring him back, that'll be huge. But just some news in terms of, you know, hey, Chiefs are looking for another guy, and it's clear that the Chiefs need another route offensively, right? The Matt Nagy, and look, Matt Nagy took the Chiefs to 3 Super Bowls, won 2 of them. I get it. But why did the Chiefs win those 2 Super Bowls? It was because the defense was so good. And Spagnuolo did such a fantastic job. And you had Patrick Mahomes, too. It's easy when you have Patrick Mahomes on the offensive side of the ball. But the offense just hasn't been the same. The production has been down. The wide receiver room has not been where it needs to be. The run game hasn't been where it needs to be. So I think just a fresh, clean palette is going to be good. And then you want to talk a little NFL?
Let's do NFL. We got 5 or 6 minutes here to do some NFL game picks. Got some big matchups. Love Saturday NFL. It's one of my favorite things. That's like the best thing about January.
Yeah.
Saturday NFL. Couple games on Saturday, couple on Sunday, and we'll pull those up right now. I know Brian Hanni was in here. I am disappointed that I didn't get to ask him. I did get to ask him off air his concern for his Patriots because they go up against the Texans, who just have a bear of a defense. But that game's on Sunday. Let's start on Saturday. The Bills are heading to Invesco Field at Mile High. Bills at Broncos. Buffalo is plus 1.5. Over-under is 45.5. What do you like?
Broncos coming on a bye is really intriguing to me because Bo Nix has been so good this year. You look at a guy like Cortland Sutton, who has just been a phenomenal wide receiver for them. Their offensive line is really good. You got guys like Quinn Miners up there. Garrett Bowles has been fantastic this year. So their offense is really what concerns me. But the Bills' defense, I think, matches up relatively well with them. They haven't met this year yet, and you're seeing Josh Allen play some good ball, but not to the MVP caliber like we saw last year. And the Bills wide receiver room is fascinating to me because you don't really have that true number one guy. Khalil Shakir is good. Keon Coleman, Jayhawk great, it is good, but they don't have that deep threat, that number one guy that you look at and you go, oh man, that guy is going to be an absolute game breaker. And plus, on the other side of it, you have a solid defensive back room for the Denver Broncos. Riley Moss has been incredible. You look at the safeties who have been really, really good. So I think that they're going to be able to shut them down. I like the under in this game, under 45.5. I don't think a lot of points are going to be scored. I think it's going to be a little bit of a defensive chess match, but I do think the Broncos go ahead and pull it out, and they're going to be playing in the AFC Championship game.
I like Bills plus 1.5. I think it's their time to shine with no Patrick Mahomes.
Dang it. I did it again.
Yeah.
Hold on. I pushed the point away.
You pushed the point away.
Yeah, there it is.
You want I'm going to take
Broncos
the point
money line
with plus 1.5 for the Bills. That way we both can win the bet. How about that?
Yeah,
Niners at Seahawks Saturday night. Niners are plus 7. Over-under is 45.5. This opened at plus 7.5, so a little bit of money came on the Niners.
Yeah, this is weird because do you know what the Seahawks' last game was?
It would have been against the Niners.
Yes, against the 49ers. You're playing a team twice in a row.
Right.
Seahawks beat them 13-3. Kind of a stinker of a game. A lot of defense being played in that game. They played twice, obviously, because they're in the same division again this year. It was in week 1, and the 49ers actually beat the Seahawks 17-13. So they're 1-1 right now. It's tough to beat a team 2 out of 3 times in a year. And when you're coming off of a bye and your last game was the team that you just beat and they just lost George Kittle, their tight end who has been really, really good, and they do have a lot of injuries on that squad. I just see this. I see the Seahawks coming out and winning this one. I really like the Seahawks. I know you don't like Sam Darnold. I know you think he's not the guy, but the Seahawks defense is just way too good.
I don't think he's good enough to lay 7 at home. Give me the plus 7 with the Niners. Sunday games, relatively quick here. Patriots are -3 hosting the Texans. Over-under is 40.5.
Yeah, Will Anderson and Danielle Hunter on that front line are just so good, and the linebacker room for the Texans is unbelievable too. Patriots have a bad offensive line. I like the Texans to win this one outright, plus 145.
Yeah, I like, again, the under. And give me the plus 3 for the Texans. And, yeah, Brian Hanni will be sad man on Sunday after hopefully a joyous Saturday watching football, enjoying KU over Baylor. Last one Sunday night, or Sunday at 5:30, I guess, for this primetime matchup. Bears are home dogs, plus 3.5. Over-under is 48.5.
Yeah, Matt Stafford looks good. Puka Nacua looks good, right? Sean McVay has that team whipped into shape. But the Bears are riding on a high, man. I think that coming off of that playoff win against the Packers, momentum says something. So I like the Bears in this one to win it. I think they knock off the LA Rams, and they're playing in their first NFC Championship game since 2003, I believe, is the last time they played an NFC Championship game. So plus 164, give me the Chicago Bears.
Rams -3.5. Bears have been a good story, but the Rams are a well-oiled machine, so I think the Rams get it done, laying the 3.5. After this, we're going to go back to the locker room exclusive. Well, actually, this is just outside the locker room. Yeah. Social media conversation, Brian Hanni and Jamari McDowell, post-game KU over Iowa State on Tuesday. That's all coming up. ESPN Kansas City and KansasNation.com.
Hey, this is Cole Ballard, and you're watching KansasNation.com.
Miles Schneer's Crown Automotive, founding partner of Kansas Nation. Visit them at crownautomotive.com. Experience the Crown difference. Carfax top-rated dealer, Crown Automotive.
Hanni and the Hawks is presented by Jefferson's with 2 Lawrence locations. Home of the best wings in town. 21 signature sauces. You got to check them out. But if wings aren't your thing, how about a burger? They hand patty their certified Angus beef every single day. Also hand bread their tenders. They make their ranch in-house. There is truly something for everybody at Jefferson's. Go see my buddy Brandon Graham and the entire crew at Jefferson's, either on Mass or Wakarusa in Lawrence, Kansas.
The new year with new deals at Crown Toyota of Lawrence. 2025 RAV4 models, 4.75 APR for up to 72 months. Low APRs for 2026 Camry and Tacoma models, or go all electric in a 2026 BZ for 0% APR.
I'm Justice Finkley. You're watching KansasNation.com. Rock Chalk.
Listen up, guys. A new year is coming, and you deserve to feel your absolute best. Whether you're chasing peak performance, trying to reignite intimacy, or simply want to feel your best, Game Day Men's Health Lawrence is your calling. Situated in a plush man cave setting, their services for testosterone replacement therapy, erectile dysfunction, vitamin therapy, and weight loss are sure to give you the boost you need. Make an online appointment today by searching for Game Day Men's Health Lawrence. Step up your game in 2025 with Game Day.
Better water now, Pay later? What's not to love? Hey, it's Bob with Culligan Water, and for a limited time, we're offering no payments and no interest for 6 months on the water you and your family deserve. Our state-of-the-art residential equipment creates water that's purified, soft, and delicious. Contact us today for details and schedule your free consultation online at CulliganKansasCity.com. Culligan, it's water you love.
Transform your home into a serene oasis with a pro-built pool and patio sunroom. Their expertly crafted sunrooms offer breathtaking views, natural light, and year-round comfort. Whether you're relaxing, entertaining, or simply enjoying the beauty of nature, their sunrooms are the perfect addition to your home. Visit them at 4708 Northwest Gateway Avenue in Riverside to see their stunning selection. Pro-built pool and patio, where your dream living space comes to life.
What's up, everybody? Dan Peterson. Everybody go check out KansasNation.com.
Well, welcome back. We're going to hear an exclusive interview, Brian Hanni and Jamari McDowell, post-game KU Iowa State. But first, Dan, tell us about Game Day Men's Health Lawrence.
Yeah, go get yourself checked out at Game Day Men's Health. If you're not feeling like yourself, not feeling 100%, you don't have the energy to go to the gym, go to work, spend time with your family, please, I urge you to go check yourself out at Game Day Men's Health. Your first visit, 100% complimentary. They'll take your blood. They'll make sure everything is working. If it is, great. If not, they'll do everything that they can to get you back in the game. So check out Game Day Men's Health here in Lawrence.
Brian Hanni and Jamari McDowell, post-game KU's win over Iowa State.
Well, there was a special energy in the Fog tonight, and a special performance followed as the Jayhawks go on to beat previously undefeated Iowa State by 21 points, 84-63. How much fun was this? Starting with the energy and the atmosphere, but also your performance.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Coming in, obviously we needed them after our past two conference games, so this was honestly a blessing to win this game and be here. And how wonderful are our fans after two big conference L's. They still show up for us today. That's what's honestly won us the game. As you can tell, the energy from the jump was insane. So super thankful for them. Shout out to them. But we did our thing tonight. We handled business for sure.
You really did. Jamari McDowell had a career-high 6 assists, and your collective defensive effort certainly answered the call. That was a big point of emphasis last 72 hours or so, and you forced 10 first-half turnovers by ISU and building up that 26-point lead. Tell me about the Jayhawks defense.
Obviously, like I said in our last showing, West Virginia, that's what got us, especially in the second half. We came out super slow. The intensity on defense wasn't as much. They walked us down slowly, and it was just a little bit too much too late. So we couldn't come down for that. So these past practices have been intense. We've been getting after each other, on each other's coattails, but we all know it's love, and at the end of the day, we just want to win. So
when you dial up the intensity like that and you produce the biggest margin of victory over a top 5 team since 1995 here at KU, that's pretty special stuff. I'm guessing that leads to even greater buy-in and hopefully some momentum too. How would you describe it?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. A win like this is a confidence booster for us after we've been needing it for a good while now. So I'm super excited how we come out tomorrow at practice and see what our body language is going to be for Baylor, because that's another, the Big 12 is the Big 12, man. You're going to play everybody the same way, so that should be interesting. But we're in the field house again, so it should be fun.
You won this one with energy, tenacity, toughness, all the staples that the Hall of Fame head coach loves. I'm curious, what did Bill Self tell you after the game?
Coach Self is just like, way to play. He told us he was going to be on our tails until, I forget, maybe it was a Friday night, but sometime in April. That's when we'll be done.
A Monday night in April.
Monday night in April. Yeah. That's when we'll be done with him being on our tails. So until then, we are not satisfied. We ain't satisfied. Not yet. Not yet.
I love it. Another special night on Allen Fieldhouse with one of our favorite guys, Jamari McDowell. Congrats on the win. Go enjoy it.
Absolutely. Appreciate you. Rock Chalk.
That's Brian Hanni and Jamari McDowell. Post-game big show tomorrow. We're going to have Shreyas Latta. We're going to have a KU Baylor preview, sports stock market. You're going to hear from Bill Self and a lot more. That's going to do it for Rock Chalk Sports today. For Elijah Schmidt and Gabe Boucher running the operations today, Dan Courtwright, I'm Sean Kellerman saying we'll catch you tomorrow. Rock Chalk Sports Game Day, KansasNation.com and ESPN Kansas City.
Hey, what's up, Chuck Nation? Bidunga here. And make sure you check out the new KansasNation.com. Rock Chalk.
Listen up, guys. A new year is coming, and you deserve to feel your absolute best. Whether you're chasing peak performance, trying to reignite intimacy, or simply want to feel your best, Game Day Men's Health Lawrence is your calling. Situated in a plush man cave setting, their services for testosterone replacement therapy, erectile dysfunction, vitamin therapy, and weight loss are sure to give you the boost you need. Make an online appointment today by searching for Game Day Men's Health Lawrence. Step up your game in 2025 with Game Day.
Your home for the NFL. Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Bursting in, touchdown Mahomes! Rushing touchdown! 1-yard run over the right tackle. Shotgun snap, 4-man rush. Line drive throw near side, belt right cut to the 5. Diving to the pylon. It is a touchdown by Worthy. What a throw, but what a turn and dive!
Your home of Westwood One, the NFL playoffs and the Super Bowl. Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Hey, this is Cole Ballard, and you're watching KansasNation.com.
Better water now, pay later? What's not to love? Hey, it's Bob with Culligan Water. And for a limited time, we're offering no payments and no interest for 6 months on the water you and your family deserve. Our state-of-the-art residential equipment creates water that's purified, soft, and delicious. Contact us today for details and schedule your free consultation online at CulliganKansasCity.com. Culligan. It's water you love.
Transform your home into a serene oasis with a pro-built pool and patio sunroom. Their expertly crafted sunrooms offer breathtaking views, natural light, and year-round comfort. Whether you're relaxing, entertaining, or simply enjoying the beauty of nature, their sunrooms are the perfect addition to your home. Visit them at 4708 Northwest Gateway Avenue in Riverside to see their stunning selection. Pro-built pool and patio, where your dream living space comes to life.
Hanni and the Hawks is presented by Jefferson's with 2 Lawrence locations. Home of the best wings in town, 21 signature sauces. You got to check them out. But if wings aren't your thing, how about a burger? They hand patty their certified Angus beef every single day. Also hand bread their tenders. They make their ranch in-house. There is truly something for everybody at Jefferson's. Go see my buddy Brandon Graham and the entire crew at Jefferson's, either on Mass or Wakarusa in Lawrence, Kansas.
I'm DJ Withers, and you're watching KansasNation.com.